Welcome back, everybody, to the Muskoka Bros podcast. This is episode number 8, and we are here with Matt and David. Say hello, everybody.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Ça va bien.
David was trying to get me to stop fidgeting with something, and I thought he was going for a high five, so...
That was a low five. A little too low.
That was real low.
Okay, you go.
Okay, almost made my first inappropriate joke of the podcast.
This was supposed to
Decided
be
not to.
serious.
Yeah, this is dead serious.
Okay, everybody.
Yeah. Center.
We are not the people to be talking about this, but we wanted to do a podcast just on the coronavirus. With the recent news of the provincial parks closing, it really hit home for us as people that like to get out, and obviously the people in this community, I'm sure, are going to be affected big time by that as well. So we wanted to just kind of take some time today and talk about the situation in general. I mean, understanding that none of us are experts on it at all. None of us are professionals of medicine, doctors, some would call those.
Not yet.
Not yet, but one day. David does work in a hospital, so
It's true.
he's getting there.
I'm around smart people.
And I wanted to say just right off the bat that we're going to be talking about every kind of facet of this that we can think of, and we all have differing opinions to various degrees, and if you're an easily offended type of person, maybe this episode isn't for you, but if you're brave enough to carry on, then follow us along in, and we'll just kind of share our thoughts on how it's affecting our lives, how it's affecting the community in general, and the world altogether. So with that said, let's jump right into it. Dave?
Well, I felt like we should do a podcast about this because it's you can't talk to anybody without it coming up. You can't even talk about the weather, without it being a thing. So I thought we should get together and just get our thoughts out there. And like you said, we aren't any experts on anything but being studs. Mm-hmm. So I thought...
Hashtag studs.
Yeah, hashtag studs. So I thought
studs.
Dr. MJ.
Emphasis on the...
Yeah, for some of us. Yeah. So, I thought we'd just kind of talk. We're just three guys talking, and we're not trying to make light of any of this. It is very serious topic, but at the same time, we kind of want to get the ball rolling and talk to each other and what our thoughts are. We could agree on some things, we could disagree, but I figure it's a good topic to talk about, and it's a way to have people listen to what we're talking about because people are at home.
Yeah. Not up to much.
Not up to much. Not getting out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get out there.
You just got to stay in there.
That's my classic catchphrase for saying it wrong. But
it's true.
It fits in this case. But I did want to, like we talked about, you work in a hospital. So yeah. What's life around the hospital like right now?
Well, it seems like every day something is escalating.
Okay.
So one day you go in and, you hear this news and you're like, okay, so what does this mean for my daily routine? Mm-hmm. Nothing. You just keep doing what you do every day.
Do your rounds, check on patients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Administer medicine.
Yeah. Get the
Clean
IV.
The floors.
Yeah. We do it all. I'm not saying that I'm a nurse or a doctor. I am a cleaner at a hospital, so...
Who also administers medicine.
Yes,
saying that he's
yes.
not a doctor.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not a doctor, but... Yeah, so... every day, things seem to kind of be escalating outside of the hospital. Mm-hmm. Like, when you go there, it's like if you go up to the floors and stuff like that, the nurses are still very calm. It's just business as usual.
Right.
There's obviously they've taken precautions as far as like with seating and stuff like that. I have a picture. I can't post, but it's this big row of chairs, and it's got this long, kind of like Halloween tape, "Do not enter," and there's one seat on one end and one on the other, and there's like 7 in the middle, and so that's the spacing. And then even when you go into the cafeteria, they've put all the tables across the room and stacked, and then there's like maybe 4 dotted throughout on each side. So they've really taken this to the next level. And you know, as a hospital, I respect that.
That's appropriate for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Makes sense.
It's harder when we all congregate for break because we're all at different tables.
Yeah. You're all at least 6 feet apart.
Exactly. And conversations are harder. Yeah. And obviously everybody wants to sit with me, and
yeah, David is the most popular girl in school, so
yeah, I get around.
But the male version,
yeah,
and not in a sexy way.
Thanks, Dylan.
I mean, he is a stud, but
yeah,
okay, he's married. Calm down,
yeah,
buddies.
yeah. Okay, stop with the phone numbers already.
It's like every day,
every damn day,
snapping necks.
Yeah, yeah. They're just like, who's that? Is with that cart of garbage.
It's me, David.
It's me. I'm married. I was gonna say a really dumb joke. I'm glad I caught myself.
Nice, because I'm definitely not editing anything out of this. So
okay.
Just so that we're all clear.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to kind of look at our lives and see where we've noticed changes. Like even for me, you're talking about seating, but like going into Tim Hortons now feels really surreal because they've got the dining rooms are closed off now, but they'll let you go up and order, and so it's not all drive-through, which is nice. I saw somebody posted about truckers and stuff, how they kind of rely on drive-throughs and things like that. So it's good that the dining rooms at least are staying open, but it's very surreal experience to walk into a place. They've got signs everywhere that's like, you know, please, if you don't have to use cash, don't, like, you know, I've never experienced this sort of thing where they're kind of telling you, like, it's very ordered, you know, it's very like I want to say militaristic. It's not that bad, obviously, but it is very yeah, I should clarify yet, because it could, you know, with the different things the government is able to do in times like this, it could very well get like that. But I just, yeah, it's a surreal experience, very, because I was kind of young still. You guys were pretty old when SARS happened.
Yeah, mature.
Okay,
so,
boomer.
Mature. Yeah, okay, boomers. Yeah, so I don't really have the context for this sort of thing. I know SARS was a little bit different as well, but
it was more deadly.
yeah. And with that, I'd love to get I would love to get Matt's take on just the whole situation in general. And I know like you follow closely along with the media and things like that, so I'm curious to get what I already know is going to be your take on that, but I just want to, for in your own words, to kind of put that out there.
Well, I definitely am not gonna drag the other bros down with some of my theories. But what I will say is my take on things. So David works right frontline, and then I'm running a small business. So
Right.
like, these are kind of frontline, small business. These are like two things that are like in the media every day, and how we're both being affected greatly and in different ways. So my business is just right at the very start of getting going right now.
Yeah.
And this happens where people are not making money,
Yeah.
and they're worried about their investments. And my mom actually texted me and said she's already dropped 50,000 in her RRSPs. They've already gone down that much,
Wow.
and she retires in like 2 months, so she'll never make that back.
Oh, that hurts.
So, you know, it's there are very, very real consequences to the decisions that the government is making. So, but I want to, like, I had a really great day. I've had a bad week. I've been pretty negative the last week, and I listen to the news a lot. I have satellite radio, so I catch American news, I catch BBC, and I also listen to CBC quite a bit. And I know. Well, I have to get the
Yeah.
other perspectives.
Yeah, the wrong side. Yeah. Just kidding.
So
Balanced.
Yeah. But so you know what? I try not to live in a like a soundboard type of area where I only listen to the media I want to listen to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm
ignorant.
That's ignorant.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Pretty ignorant
Yeah.
to listen to both sides.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
It's ignorant to like the
Yeah.
guys that wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So, but I can, and I yell at the radio, I yell at the TV, I'm kind of like my dad like that in a lot of ways. And never really heard my dad swear other than swearing at the CBC. But anyways, so back to the small business thing. I had a great day today. Third day in a row of doing tree work. And so just really thankful for that work. And the people I met today were great. But the really, really cool thing was everyone is home. And as I'm starting to climb into this tree, everyone is watching.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
that
rock star.
Yeah.
normally really
Stud.
bugs me because I have a job that makes me nervous, and I'm often scared at my job to some degree, and I can try and put that in my back pocket, but then when people are watching me, it makes me that much more self-conscious.
Right. Well,
And everyone is home.
You have to have a healthy respect doing that. Like it's not like once you start losing that fear, that's when you get hurt, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
it's not like you're afraid of your job. I would say it's more of a respect. Just
Certainly have to respect what could happen.
Yeah.
And so anyways, everyone's watching, and the client's out there, and I'm just thinking to myself, you know what? I just want one little excuse and I'm out of here. I'm not going to climb this huge tree and do all this work in front of people, and things could go wrong.
Right.
I don't want to embarrass the company and myself. And then the first couple cuts go right, and people are cheering.
What?
And I'm just, it was like literally like people were like, yay!
Oh my gosh,
And it was
that's
like
so
everyone
funny.
was walking by and stopping and watching. And then what happened from there is all of a sudden everyone wants a quote.
Oh, heck
And
They
yes.
want your number.
They
Yeah.
want digits.
Snapping.
Right?
Next.
Snapping.
They want an inbox.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
And tree work.
Hashtags dead.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I did 3 quotes on the street and a quote down the street, and we got 2 jobs out of it.
Wow.
And you know what? We have a captive audience.
Yeah.
Everyone is home.
Yeah.
I'm working in the front lawn.
Okay.
And I think this could be a little bit of a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, obviously your working hours are the same as everybody's working hours. So usually the only person home is the client because they want to make sure you're doing your job right, which is just funny. But
Yeah.
As if they know.
yeah, as
Yeah.
if they know.
Idiots.
I should say they want to tell you when you're doing your job wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it is funny when we start looking at those little blessings and yeah, you talk about a captive audience. Like tree work is very awesome to watch. Like even as somebody that was doing the work, sometimes I catch myself just going like looking up at the tree, just being like, wow, I can't believe we're removing this entire thing and we're dodging a house, we're dodging the neighbor's cat, we're dodging like the neighbor,
or
Dodging a ball.
yeah. Somebody's playing dodgeball for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah.
But you'll have to add that to your tailboards, having a crowd now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Set up the
pretty
caution
cool.
tape around
Yeah.
the job site or whatever. But yeah, it's it's interesting for me at work too, because my company just laid off a couple of guys because some of the big major contractors are shutting their sites down. It's more than 50 people, so they're shutting it down. I work with my boss who does mostly custom homes, so it's like me and him and then maybe 4 or 5 other people in the house at the same time. So but then they were all like everybody's talking about it. So they're all talking about like, why are we still working? Why are we still working? It's kind of funny because all these places are shutting down. And on the news, they were asking, why are construction workers still working? So it's a different perspective there too. And I've never really seen everybody all freaked out like this. But I think just you kind of touched on it a little bit. But the frustrating thing for me has been how badly the media has hyped it. Like, it's worthy of the coverage. It is. It's just the way that it's being covered is, I think, irresponsible. And I saw an article today from Global News on Facebook, and it said 30-year-olds now being diagnosed or something with coronavirus, dying from it. And then you click on the article, so that's the headline, and it had been up for hours. You click on the article, it's like, editor's note, this information is not accurate, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
The headline is still up, the article's still up, but there's an editor's note, as if people actually click on the articles. The only reason I did is because my friend, he hounds Global News on Facebook. It's really funny. He always comments, and so I clicked on the article just to see what was going on for myself. But stuff like that is really irresponsible. It leads to fear. I think we do kind of have a responsibility here to protect our communities and stuff like that, to try and make it a safe place for our immunity deficient people and our elderly people and stuff like that. But it's really hard because the media is just making it seem so much worse than it is. But it is bad, so it's hard to balance that, you know. And it's also frustrating just because I can't go anywhere, do anything without seeing something about it, right? So this was kind of an opportunity to vent a little bit about that, because it's I don't want to hear about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore, but yet here we are. It's like we kind of have no choice at this point.
Yeah, it's therapeutic too, because actually when you rolled up, I was barbecuing, and just to have someone that isn't someone that lives on this farm, although I'm very happy to see anybody.
So refreshing.
Yeah, it was nice to see.
God.
Yeah, it was nice to see a new face.
And we did elbow
around.
bump.
We did.
That is a true fact. We did do that.
Yeah, and then you licked my ear.
Yeah, well, had to.
But yeah, it's really good to sit down and, like, are you sick?
No.
Are you sick?
No.
Then we can hang out.
Yeah.
You know, so, like, I get why you wouldn't be in a stadium at this point.
Right.
But, I mean, you know, it common sense plays a big role in this. And not to freak out, a really good story Becky read to me, because I'm 5. It was about how our hospital, and this is, like, I'm really proud of our hospital for this, and they have this drive-through where
Handy.
if you're sick, it's an ambulance bay that they've taken everything out, and they have a doctor stationed there. Now, if I get any of this wrong, I apologize, but I'm going to give you kind of the Eclipse Notes version of this. And so this one story, and it's from the doctor's point of view. A dad pulls in, he has symptoms, and so the doctor checks him out from the car, and the doctor says, "I cannot test you." And the dad says, "Well, I'm living in a hotel room right now." And the doctor's like, "Well, why are you living in a hotel room?" And he said, "Well, because my son at home I can't remember what exactly he has, but he has a very weak immune system. So he couldn't go back home because he didn't know if he had the virus or not, and he didn't want to take that back home."
Right.
And so the doctor, you can see that he is conflicted because he's only tested one person that day that he deemed, you know. So to test somebody else, because there are limited supplies, he had to make a call, like a judgment call. And that's something that I'm so glad I don't have to do. So what he ended up doing was testing the guy, because it was the right thing to do. Yeah. You know, so he could get back to his son, you know. And it kind of warmed my heart. And like, you can get so jaded working in a hospital.
Yeah.
You can, like at any job.
Yep, for sure.
You know, but hearing something like that, just, it goes so far for your spirit working there, you know?
Yeah.
That he was willing to maybe make an error, or not an error, but waste a test on
Right.
something, but he just knew that in this circumstance, like, it was the right call, and
Yeah.
I totally agree with him, and I commend that doctor, and our hospital should totally back things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it's following your heart. It's
For sure.
Yeah, that's sounds like the right call to me. It's just, I hope people don't exploit that, you know. I
Exactly.
hope people aren't doing that. I don't, you know, some people are crazy. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was limited supply of tests. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know that was a thing. So
Mhm.
what does that mean? Do they have like little packets, or?
Honestly, I haven't even been up that way, because
Mm.
it's one of those things, you just don't want to be another body in the
Yeah,
way.
fair enough.
I should know more, but we're kind of just busy, just doing our jobs and trying to keep calm, you know.
Yeah.
And I think my coworkers are doing an amazing job, and I think I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And we need to kind of just stay strong, and
Yeah.
only go to work, you know, if you're feeling good. Like, there's so much temptation to just be like, well, everybody else is staying at home.
Yeah.
But it's funny, because like, naturally, like, I would love to just take some time off, but there's this weird kind of pride that's like, well, if my coworkers are there suffering through this, I have to be there.
Right.
You know. And so cleaning is very important, but I'm not trying to say that we are
The heroes?
the
'Cause you are.
heroes. But in our own small way, we're trying to protect the public and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even like going the extra mile and seeing, like, if you're walking by something, just clean it up, you know, and just move on. It takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And just to show a bit of extra pride in what we do. So
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of a hard right turn, but I just wanted to jump into the provincial parks thing.
yes.
Because along with, like, so I think the first really big thing that hit me was when Rudy Gobert got tested positive for coronavirus, the guy in the NBA, and he had been like touching microphones and making a joke of it and stuff, and then the NBA shut down. Then the next day I saw the NHL shut down, then MLB, and like football, who knows if I don't even know when it starts, but it probably won't start on time. But that was a really surreal thing for me. And then the second thing that hit me was seeing the notice that the provincial parks would be closing, and probably should have done some more research into this, but I wanted to give my honest reaction. I was like, what the hell are they doing? Like, there's no people out there. Why are they closing the park? So it's rough, because my dad and we love going camping together. We have a trip planned for May 1st to the 4th, and we have a site booked and everything. Like, we're getting excited to go. It's something that hasn't happened in maybe 5 years or so, and so selfishly, I will say, it's like, oh, this stupid virus. But I don't understand the logic behind shutting down the provincial parks. I don't know if you guys have heard or seen anything about the logic there.
I've just talked kind of briefly on like a backcountry Facebook group, and I just basically was like, well, like, why? You know, like, if there's anything in the world you can do right now, it should be camping.
Getting away from everybody.
Getting away, you're secluded. Like, there's no bigger social distancing than camping, you know?
It's true.
So, yeah, I've had a couple of chats, and I should look that up. The conversation I had, but yeah, it was like you could tell that the person I was talking with kind of agreed with me, but was trying to be diplomatic.
Like they probably listen to CBC,
Yeah.
unironically.
Yeah. So the comment was just announced that all provincial parks, including backcountry and car camping, close until April 30th. My response was, why? That's ridiculous. Camping is social distancing. and then the person wrote, I agree. Not a clue why. And then another person goes, I think it's because that's the same mentality as a lot of people. I've heard of people flocking to trails and bigger groups are showing up. Go find some crown land. And then I put, it still doesn't change the fact that it's ridiculous. We are shutting down parks, yet we can still go to the grocery store. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's pretty ironic.
Yeah. And then the last comment is, I know it's sad. It's the sad reality we have to deal with. I'd prefer to be camping right now.
Yeah.
Part of my other thought is the allocation of emergency resources. It could have something to do with that. Regardless, I agree. So I honestly put that question out there looking for a fight. Because like at the time it's like
mad.
You're mad, you're upset, you're like, what else can they take away from us,
right.
you know? So when this kind of happened, you know, your initial reaction is it's ridiculous, and like it's still what I feel, but I'm calmed down from that. Although I wasn't like gonna go nuts or anything, but it was a little piss off for sure.
Yeah.
And but you know, like kind of talking through it and getting other people's opinions, both sides of the ridiculous argument, you know.
Yeah.
is always good.
Yeah, the ignorant version of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're entitled to your wrong opinion.
Right.
And I'm entitled to my right one.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, the crazy thing is that we're probably all going to get this virus.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
I was specifically instructed not to say that, but I couldn't help myself, obviously. But yeah, it's Matt's just like staring through my skull right now, and I'm just trying to avoid eye contact. It's not working. Yeah. So I don't think that we're all gonna get it. I think we probably all already have it.
Okay.
Just kidding.
More
Sorry.
laser beams.
Yeah. Ow. That was just a real fist that time.
Yeah. Don't make me cough on you.
Yeah. As we sit like 3 feet away from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, Matt, what's your kind of opinion on the parks thing, and just I know you're a bit of a sports guy, not so much into hockey now after your college days kind of ruined it for you, but how are you feeling in regards to all these closures and
so for the
like
sports, like I can remember, it feels like forever ago, but it's probably a week and a half ago, David texted me that the NBA closed. I think it was NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? And I texted back and I said, and the guy on CBC said, shame on the NHL for not canceling it. I was like, yeah, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I get that it's a domino effect. And it's a snowball domino too. It gets bigger and bigger. Once the major league sports, so something that's seen worldwide, once that's canceled, then anything can cancel.
Yeah. I was thinking as soon as one of them goes down, all of them are going down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I really I'm on all those Facebook and Insta groups as well for backcountry in Ontario and Algonquin and all that stuff. And people were like, perfect social distancing, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm going camping. And I was like, right on. Like, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the first phase of the parks canceling was that none of the staff were going to be there at the car camping or at facilities. Okay. Fair enough. They're people too. They deserve not to have 100 or 200 people a day come through and interact closely with them. That's fair.
Yeah.
But to close the backcountry, I read that last night. I popped open Facebook, and Sean Peterson, I think it was, what is his site? Anyways, Sean Peterson, you host one of the Ontario sites, and he had posted that it's officially backcountry is canceled. And I said to David and Becky were over, David's wife, and I said, I read it out. We all gasped, and then I'm like, that's an insult. That is an insult to my intelligence. I can go within 5 minutes of leaving this podcast. I can go run into 100 people, and it's not. We're not under martial law. There's no quarantine on meeting with people right now. I could go drive to the corner store, and I could sit there and run into 100 people.
Right.
And they won't let me go and run into a few portagers.
If that.
It's an insult to my intelligence and my ability to care for myself.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of, I share the same feeling in regards to camping, because specifically camping, because we were talking earlier about the grocery store, and you have people flocking there in hordes, like panic buying all this stuff, and yet, like, I feel like camping should be the last thing to be canceled. It's such a low traffic experience, and with people already doing the self-isolation, the social distancing, you probably would have less people camping anyways, because you have a lot of people going out to Algonquin for the first time, because they're like, they're from the city. That's like the big Canadian adventure is to go to Algonquin Park. And like, not to say whatever about those people, but I'm guessing they would be more likely to stay home this season. Right? Like, that's just how I feel.
Yeah,
maybe
fair
it's
enough.
like speciesist against city folk, but it's I don't know. I 100% agree. It's so strange that they would close that before they would issue martial law, like a complete shutdown, like the people in Italy, how they weren't allowed to leave their homes. And actually, I saw a cool video of the canals in Venice, because nobody's allowed to go anywhere, so they're not stirring up the mud with the boats or anything. So all the canals are clear, and there's all these little fish coming in. It's like, and it only took like a week or so, I guess, because it's just nobody's stirring up stuff. But I thought that was kind of neat. But it's so strange that they would cancel camping, and then the person on that Facebook chat said find some crown land.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, that's a good tip.
For sure.
If you
For sure it is.
If you still have that, I'm sure you do. Everybody listening to this probably wants to go camping sometime this season, right?
Yeah.
So, find some crown land. Make the most of it. Yeah, it sucks. Algonquin is canceled but it was only until April 30th for now.
To start,
31st for now. Yeah. So maybe it's a good time to break out of your rut. Maybe you go to Algonquin every year like we do. Right, and maybe it's time to find a new spot. Maybe it'll be nice to have a different kind of adventure. But that goes back to what you said about trying to find the positives in it, because it's it's hard. Like, it's so much negativity all the time talking about this. So, and it's it gets its due for sure. But it's good to look for those positives, to find something else we can talk about. Like, it'll be nice to get out into the bush, and I know we're talking about doing an alone style
Brolone
videos, right? So that's good social distancing right there, and some crown land or however that's gonna work. But
for sure,
yeah, that was a big hit, having Algonquin and the provincial parks closed. But I've
got a trip booked June for the first Brolone for me. The June 5th, 6th weekend, Tim Lake.
Okay.
I'm gonna do my first solo adventure, and I mean, theoretically it's on, but doesn't mean it's on.
Right.
Yeah. It's
maybe not
paper.
at Tim Lake.
It's on paper.
Sorry to spoiler that. I don't know if that's news yet about the Brolone thing, but
no,
now
that's
it
good.
is.
It's good for people to
tune
know
in.
what's going on with us. Like, we're not gonna stop, so don't worry about that, guys. There's plenty of Muskoka Bro stuff. We have a forest on our property. we're not short for content. I mean, if we have to just keep doing podcasts through this and camping in the back forest, we'll do that.
Yeah. Even if it gets to the point where we're actually like quarantined, not allowed to leave, we can still do it over Zoom. Like,
exactly.
we can do.
Yeah.
There's options still.
And there's actually a lot of companies have been sending us stuff that I'm just kind of accumulating to do like a video, just like an unboxing or a mail day type of thing. And the stuff's accumulating, so I'm just waiting to kind of go through that and maybe divvy it up between the three of us. And so you'll see a lot more of kind of smaller type gear stuff that maybe starter companies are wanting us to promote or to try out and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. We can still show you guys a few things in the meantime. I don't think this is going to last forever.
Yeah.
It has an expiry date.
Well, they got to be working on a vaccine or something.
Yeah.
Like some kind of. They've got to. I'm sure they're working on it.
I wish Becky was here for that data.
Yeah.
She's been going a little kind of loopy because she's had the kids here.
Right. She's like, when will this end?
Yeah, and she
time.
works from home, and she can't go out. So like, I come back from work, and I'm like,
I got to experience the world today.
I got to talk to different people, and she's just like,
I got to talk to children.
She's like, she has her phone, David, this just happened. And I'm like, what? She's like, and then this. Oh, look at this meme. I'm just like, and then it was last night, I turned to her and I was like, I was trying to be very careful.
I already hate where this is going.
It's not bad. I was trying to be very careful because I know it could go either way. And I was just like, hun, you're kind of starting to crack up a bit. And she kind of was looking at her phone. I'm holding up a fake phone in front of my face right now. And she kind of lowered it and then looked up at me and completely agreed.
Oh, wow.
And
now you know she's lost her mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Because I'm a loser. So
that's funny.
But yeah, and it was the first time I ever felt right in our marriage in a fight, or not a fight, or
on solid ground.
Yeah, I was like, David, you are the sane one for the first time ever. So, but I think, so we immediately were like, oh, we should go over and to Matt and Kat's and talk to them for a bit and social up a bit, so, yeah, it's just cabin fever and stuff like that, and
people get cooped up
for sure,
go a little nutty for sure, especially you spend so much time in front of screens. Like Becky's got a computer's job or whatever, so doing that all day, you can't help but have Facebook open, and you're doing social media stuff anyways, you're seeing it all the time. Like, at least you get a break when you are doing your job, because well, I guess you're cleaning up the thing that's killing everybody, but
sure. Let's just take a moment to open a Bud Light Orange. Matt he's had his finger on the trigger, which is a no in the hunting world. Safety is off.
Safety's off.
I even looked
Red
over.
is dead.
So this is brought to you by Bud Light.
Yeah.
The refresher on your
pressure.
Well, speaking of summer beers, this is it right here.
Bud Light Orange?
Yeah, Bud Light Orange.
What about Bud Light Lime?
That's also good. Yeah. This is a little bit more refreshing, though.
Yeah? Yeah. I personally find Bud Light Lime from a can does not have the same zing or impact as Bud Light Lime from a bottle.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the glass or whatever, but it just doesn't... Maybe it's the aluminum taste, but personally, I think the Bud Light Lime is superior as long as it's in a bottle. So
now... Sorry.
I think it's when the bottles are going along and they get filled.
Yeah.
And the cap goes on right away. It seals everything in, but the way the cans are filled up and then the way the can is sealed, it actually takes a half second longer to close the top of a can.
So you lose that freshness.
So you lose the freshness.
That makes a lot of sense.
Things you didn't know.
Wonder what happens to a Guinness when
Oh yeah,
I
this
thought you might like that.
podcast is also. Oh, good. Oh, we got a
They
rookie
have the
here.
nitro
Not
ball.
quite as
They have the
smooth.
nitro ball.
We got a rookie
Don't
here.
say ball.
Okay. Not my fault. They have the nitrogen ball in the inside so that you get that nice creamy head when you pour it into a glass. Couldn't help but notice that Matt didn't bring a glass for me, so
Yeah.
a little disappointed there. But ultimately,
There's
this is my
only
favorite
so much
beer,
that
so.
fits into my little girly 80s seat here.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
The coronavirus and how it's affecting
Corona
the
what?
entire world.
Yeah, I heard that it can live on metal for 3 days. So
Really?
yeah,
That's
interesting
crazy.
little tidbit.
That's
there.
crazy. How do you think it's affecting like the beer Corona? Like,
Oh, I've got a good story, and thank you, David, for bringing that up. But
segue.
the beer Corona is a hurting real bad, but only probably in the States. But I saw on my Facebook feed or something, some guy went out to the beer store down in the States, and he got 36 Coronas for $10.
Whoa.
$10,
Which is like, yeah, $30 Canadian, but
Yeah.
still,
Just
the deal stands. No, it's crazy. Like beer is cheaper there, but 36 of them for $10. That's
Yeah.
like, and it's just people are
Yeah.
gone crazy. So I was like, okay, well, that's a great idea. I'm gonna
Yeah.
head on down to my local liquor store in Cannington. Went there, and went to the Coronas. At first couldn't find them. I'm like, oh, maybe they just stopped stocking them because nobody's buying them. And then I saw them there. I was like, oh, that's a little disappointing. It's 6 of them for $15.
Yeah, that's very disappointing. Yeah.
And I was
Not
like,
even dollars.
it's like they've went up in price. And so I was like, well, I came here for some Coronas. I had a hankering. So
Yeah.
I looked around a little bit more and found the Caronitas for
Jace,
$10. So
did you buy some?
I did. I bought those, and I went to the Foodland right after and got some limes. Just
It's funny because like your town, Cannington, it has like no gas station,
Yeah.
but for damn sure they've got a liquor store.
you know it.
You know it.
A liquor store and a
Yeah,
grocery
it's
store
cute.
and a hardware store.
Yeah.
It's all you need.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised actually that they don't have a gas station because it's kind of an up and comer right about now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good old
Cannington. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's on a map.
That's our slogan. Actually, the Cannington slogan is the heart of Ontario.
It's not.
No.
Okay,
is.
I've seen
No,
that
it's
sign.
not.
I've seen
It's
it. And
not the heart, but it is the slogan.
it's not.
I don't
It's
think
it's
so.
an appendage, but it's not the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The skin tag.
Oh, that's hardly an
Just
appendage.
kidding.
Yeah.
Think of something else.
Yeah.
It's so it's a town of 2,000 people. So I don't know, maybe like 600 years ago it was the heart of Ontario before it was, because all the houses there are mansions.
Maybe it was a guy named Ontario.
Yeah.
The heart
Yeah.
of Ontario.
That is where the heart
Flanagan.
Yeah.
Ontario Flanagan. Oh, Flanagan.
Oh, Flanagan.
Yeah, so anyways, my town is better than this town, the town of Zephyr.
Ooh, okay.
So there's
we
that.
You mean Huntsville.
at least used to have a gas station.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
No
Before
liquor
this damn
store.
coronavirus.
Yeah, no liquor store.
Yeah. No liquor store and
No.
a terrible pizza place. The
Oh,
Cannington
yeah.
Pizza place is
Hot
100
circles.
times
Round
better.
circles of garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, of cardboard garbage. It's like they just take the box,
That's Mount Albert.
cut it into a circle, and then put pizza sauce and pepperoni
Deep
on
Yeah.
yeah.
and then put that in a regular box.
Yeah.
That's also deep fried.
Or it's a bread box. Why didn't you just make the pizza out of the bread?
Oh, I'm laughing really hard for a long time, but it was silent. That's how you know it's good.
Yeah.
Not great podcast content, though.
No, this is gonna be in the toilet.
Yeah, no, this is a good one. I like just sitting around and chatting.
Shooting the breeze.
Shooting the breeze. Speaking of breeze, Drew Brees signed a $50 million contract with the New Orleans Saints. For
Really?
2 years.
What sport's that?
Wow.
That's football.
Oh, I'm purely
Breeze.
hockey.
I've heard the name. What position does he play?
Quarterback, obviously.
Oh, okay. Cube.
Cube. Yeah, he's cute too.
QB.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh,
which is
third
crazy.
string?
First. I think.
Wow. So Buccaneers are hurting. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like Brady, just go out on top. Do what Seinfeld did. Go
Yeah.
out on top.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Seinfeld did.
Yeah.
your
Enjoy
sequestered
retirement.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're better than your brothers.
Yeah.
If you have any. Who knows?
Got to.
Does he?
Yeah.
Do they also wear Uggs?
I hope so. I want Uggs.
Are
know
you thinking of
comfortable
Peyton
they are?
Manning?
No.
No. Okay. I was.
Caitlyn Jenner.
What?
What? We're just saying names now.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Speaking of dudes.
Speaking of dudes, we're all dudes.
Bro.
Oh yeah, I wanted to. I wanted to get back
On track?
on track to the Crownland thing.
Yeah.
Because I've never been Crownland camping.
Mhm.
I know you guys did Temagami last year, so maybe for a destination for our listeners, can you guys maybe Matt, if you want to talk a little bit about how it works going Crownland camping, what Temagami is like, what's Crownland, what isn't, because I know it's kind of a mixture, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you're driving up Highway 11 to the town of Temagami, the only thing that is not Crown Land is Finlayson Point Provincial Park.
Okay.
That's car camping. It's beautiful, but it's car camping.
Okay, so that'll be a no-go.
That's a no-go. As soon as you step off, if you hop onto the east arm of Lake Temagami, any shoreline that you step off onto is Crown Land.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you
so
just
the
you
whole
just paddle
thing-
your boat out there.
You just paddle, and anything you touch is Crown Land, unless there's a cottage there, and then they have a lease to the
Oh, okay.
land.
Hmm.
So the east arm of Lake Temagami has quite a few cottages, so their shore line would be leased.
Okay.
Um,
So you've got to paddle
yeah,
quite a ways.
Yeah, get past the cottages, and then
Yeah.
you're on Crown Land.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you just so do they have kind of I guess highly frequented spots there?
Yes,
Do
yeah.
they maintain it, or is it just wild? How does that work?
No, there's a mix. There's wild. There's like completely wild. And then there's a ton of logging actually around there. And there is historic logging. So there's historic logging roads that are still accessible.
Okay.
Red Squirrel Road is one of the ones. If you go just past Temagami, go north of Temagami, go west on Red Squirrel. Anywhere you get off the road there, when you're heading quite a ways west, is Crown Land. So you'd be in the wild there. But Temagami Lake is giant. It's like an octopus. There's like a main center body and then like several like arms off of it. And once you get into the heart of Lake Temagami, you're in the middle of Crown.
Okay. So yeah, that's I've done zero research, as I said at the start, about
Excuse me.
whoa. You guys probably didn't hear that. No, you definitely
Yeah.
did. If I can hear it, the microphone
Yeah.
can hear it.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah.
That was brought to you by Charlie, my stupid dog.
Stupid awesome.
Stupid dog.
And then, so Dave, you've also done some of the Crownland stuff. Do you know of any other places other than Temagami that's that'll be a good spot to hit up this season?
It was funny because I was just added a friend, Martin Pine.
Sounds very
And
camping.
He looks
of a
the
legend.
real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of a legend, and it was funny. I added him because I added Hap Wilson, name drop. And if you don't know who Hap Wilson is, you're not into any type of camping or bushcraft.
I'll
or
just leave.
canoeing. Yeah, Dylan, could you just yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Just
just
close it on the way out.
Just because I'm young.
Yeah, so I saw I added Hap. I didn't think he would add me on Facebook, but he did. He's a very, very lovely person. From what I've talked to over the interweb, it could be a different story when we
Catfished.
yeah,
It's probably not
yeah.
even.
I know. It's Les Stroud.
Aren't you supposed to meet? In a
So-
Wilson mask.
Yeah, so I said to him, I was like, I was just like, hey, I'm David, the amazing one from
The
Muskoka
amazing one.
from Muskoka Bros, and I thought I'd just add you and blah blah blah. And he said, I actually have been following you guys for a while, which I was like, you know who we are? Like one tear.
Yeah.
That is a little surprising.
Then I tattooed it, and then so then he said, once this kind of wraps up, we should go out for a hike, and he knows of some good accesses for Crownland for us to explore. So, as far as Crownland, I want to meet anybody that knows a good spot to go, because actually there's a lady at our church, Julia Bulliard. She actually got talking to me about how much they hike and stuff like that, which I kind of knew they went out a bit, and they really like
them as hikers.
Yeah,
offense,
but
Luke and Julie.
That's rude.
that is very
Well, I
rude.
said no offense.
Yeah, there's a bro fight here. Anyways, so she actually got talking about how much they like to hike, and she's like, oh, there's these great spots here, and I'm like, I'm Muskoka Bros, I don't need to hear it. And then I'm like writing that, where was that last spot? I'm like writing everything
I'm
down.
sure I already know it. But...
Yeah, but I just want to see if the spelling's right, because I will spell it wrong. And so it was really cool to kind of, and then she even showed me pictures, and she's like, there's a waterfall here, and and I'm just like, I know nothing about camping, So this journey, you just kind of learn as you go. And as far as Crown Land camping, I wouldn't say I'm an expert at all. I actually, if anybody out there that's listening that is from Ontario, we would love to hear in the comments some of your favorite spots, and maybe somewhere the bros could head out to. That would be amazing.
Very helpful for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I had never even heard of the idea of Crownland camping until like last year when you guys were talking about Temagami, and I thought that's so cool. I didn't even think stuff like that even existed anymore.
Yeah.
Because stuff is so regulated now, right? So
yeah.
that's kind of a unique experience. One I'm looking forward to trying, because it seems like a bit less of a handheld adventure. Algonquin is for sure intense and serious and all of that, but it's a little bit like on rails almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not too far from someone paddling by unless you go really deep into the
Yeah,
park.
and it's like, I mean, look at us.
I know.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We almost had to go like, what was our trip supposed to be last time? It was like 15 hours, and then we thought, better not do that.
Yeah, we were able to finagle a few things and get a closer spot, which worked out better because we had a senior citizen with us, Buffalo Brad.
Yeah, my father-in-law.
Yeah, he's
very old
and decrepit
and frail. Yeah.
Yes. We kind of had to carry him through some portages, and
the 100-meter ones are really, really hard on him.
On his knees,
especially twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why he doesn't do 2 trips.
Yeah, exactly. And in the bedroom. So what? Edit that out.
We can't
do it.
We're so deep into the podcast now, I'll never find it. Yeah. I don't actually listen to these.
No, I don't either.
If you actually heard that, you're a fan. We're not worried.
Yeah, that's true. If you're still with us after the beer diversion and then snap right back to camping talk.
Reality.
Yeah. Oh, there goes gravity.
That's a song, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dr. Dre.
Yeah. Dr. Dre featuring 50 Cent.
Whoop de whoop.
And that's how old you are. Back when rap was whoop de whoop.
Yeah. I can't complete that line. But my mind will.
It's probably shoop de poop.
There it is.
Well, boys, what do you think? You got anything else on the situation right now, or stuff you're looking forward to? Anything like that?
I'm just looking forward to things kind of getting back to normal.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the kids being home is cool, but I mean, like,
it's March break anyways this week, right?
Yeah.
They were supposed to be off, but the next 2 weeks are not.
It's looking towards those next 2 weeks, and it's not so much that they're around, because I don't mind that they're around.
Yeah.
It's
that's good.
Keeping them kind of motivated and busy and
setting an example too, I imagine.
Yeah. So like I want to kind of give Jesse and Abby something to do for these next 2 weeks that might kind of benefit the farm.
You know what you should do? That won't benefit the farm, but that would benefit Muskoka Bros.
What's that?
Just give them the camera, maybe the crappy one, and just send them out into the woods and see what they come back with footage-wise.
I've actually done a video that I didn't put out, and it was I left Jesse alone to start a fire by himself.
Yeah.
And I thought I taught him proficiently on how to do it, and it's a different story when you send a little boy off to do it by himself and film, and so.
But he didn't know he was on film?
No, he knew. Because he had to set up the tripod, he had to set up the.
Oh, that's.
And
weird.
I left the forest. I left the forest.
That was air quotes.
Air quotes. I thought maybe the emphasis on.
No, it didn't come across.
Didn't come across.
People just thought you were repeating yourself, so I.
Okay. Gotcha. No, but I was kind of watching him from afar, creepily.
Yeah.
But he thought I said I was gonna go back to the house.
Okay.
We've got to start a fire.
Yeah.
When really I was not too far away, just kind of
hiding,
waiting to see, if he could do it, and he was unsuccessful. But I was kind of just training him to be able to like do this when I'm not around, and so. But like I came back, I gave him a couple tips and stuff like that. I left again, and then I had to come back, and then he got it all going himself, but it just needed that direction.
Yeah.
I never ended up putting it out, but I might still do that.
Yeah.
It was in the fall. It was just one that got away from me.
Yeah. Well, it happens. Yeah. But yeah, that would be a fun idea for some content. Kids do weird stuff.
For sure.
Time, so.
Especially my kids. Or
That's
our kids. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of my kids, yesterday my daughter, she's almost 16, took her with me to work, and we actually needed a third person. We wouldn't have finished the job without her. She did so great, and it was so good to see her the way I've never seen her before, like as a worker. In work mode.
Yeah.
And what a blessing to see her just do well, know, and just see more of who she is. And I only see my daughter, but she's a unique individual person and a woman. And it was just really great to see her. And then she was so happy for the money, and it was just, it was such a good day. Nice. It was, it's funny though, Dylan, because for you that don't know, Dylan used to work for me. I told her, I said, Emma, I'm not just saying this. That was the best first day of anyone that's ever worked for me.
That's awesome.
And
I don't doubt it.
I was very nervous. You were sneaking away, but watching your son, I was watching her chip brush, and
I can imagine how
go through
terrifying
the chipper.
That would be.
And she did everything I said. There was one time she reached a little bit in to push some branches, and I said, when you reach in, you're going through. So I said, the next branch pushes the branch through.
Right.
So with all this hysteria going on, it afforded me a day with my daughter at work, and hopefully, should school not come back, she'll do part-time with us through the next few weeks or so.
Has she kind of expressed an interest in doing tree work before, or is she got something else?
No, there was always just, my dad has a business, so I'll probably work at some point for him.
Right.
But never really.
Just as a summer thing.
Yeah, as a summer thing. And you know what? I have worked with a couple women arborists, and they are better than me. They're better climbers. They probably make better decisions. They're good with clients.
Yeah.
So
well, even when we had Natalie on the crew,
she was
you were saying it gave us some street cred.
Exactly.
Because people were like, they hire women. And it wasn't just because she was a woman. She was good at that stuff. So it was great to have her around, and it's good to have diversity for sure. It does it does send, I think, the right message from a company that's or from a, not a company, industry that's typically male oriented,
for sure.
dominated, whatever. Yeah, that's cool to get your kids involved with that too. So
Yeah.
and Josh, I'm sure, will be joining you eventually too.
Yeah, he was pretty jealous. Definitely
bet.
very jealous of Emma yesterday. And so actually he didn't have a great night, and I grounded him last night. I lifted the grounding this morning because he
Unshun.
he got up early and he cleaned his room.
Oh,
so
nice.
I lifted the grounding.
Nice.
But
Solid dad move right there.
yeah, he was pretty jealous. But him and I, the last podcast, and I just listened to it. It just launched today, the Catching Wolves podcast, and I just listened to it. And it reminded me of I was in this room a week ago, just talking about how great it was to be with my son, and now I'm talking about how great it was to be with my daughter. So, yeah, spend that time with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Yeah, I've also have a daughter.
Yeah, you do.
She's too young to do any of the things that you guys are talking about.
Aw.
She's a year and a half, be 2 in June. So looking forward to that, and then second baby on the way in July. We're thinking, but you never know. So I will not get Jill to come pick me up when she's in labor this time, because that almost went poorly last time.
I remember when Jill called. We were at work.
Yeah.
And Jill called my phone because she probably knew I'd answer over anyone else, because
Yeah.
I tell the guys to put their phone away. And she's like, "Can you get Dylan? I'm in labor."
And Matt's like, "Yep, just drive right over here."
Didn't she though?
She did. She
drive over?
came and picked me up.
Yeah, she's a
in
tough
labor.
girl.
She
Yeah.
is, yeah. She
That-
had to pull over like 3 times for contractions. She said she almost just drove off the road because of one of them. Just like, end it now. Sort of drove off the road.
Yeah.
No one take the wheel.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But I am so looking forward to when they get a little bit older and can start joining me in these types of activities and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, for you guys, just to keep it rolling here, I know we almost wrapped that up, but
Yeah, we revived it.
it's back, baby. You thought we were done.
It's brisk, baby.
That was a blast from the
Yeah,
past.
yeah.
I was like 1 when those commercials
You're like,
were.
okay, boomer.
I love when you boomer yourself.
I boomered myself.
I
Sounds gross.
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
He unboomered. It's okay.
Yeah.
For you guys, when did you think that your kids were kind of at the right age or ready to be getting into this stuff? I know mostly it's Josh and Jesse that are interested in it, but if Abby or I totally know her name,
Emma.
Emma.
Keep going.
I was gonna get it. I was right there. Josh or Emma or Abby had interest in it as well, and how have you kind of cultivated that interest?
I think with Jesse, he just wants to be around me, and same with Josh. He just wants to be around you. And
I thought you were gonna say around me.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's true.
But it won't happen.
Yeah. But I think they just naturally want to be with their dads. And so do the girls and stuff like that. I think they, at least for our girls, they need a little bit more coaxing to want to go camping and stuff like that. And I remember we did a video a while back. It was daddy-daughter camping. And talk about picture perfect time with them up until we had to leave. And that was a whole other story right there. I probably won't get into that one. But we, like, it wasn't about, I think for them, it wasn't like, well, we're going camping. I think just anything that we did with them would have sufficed. And just showing them that there are good men in the world, I think that will kind of push them away from maybe running to find that love elsewhere.
Yeah.
And dads out there, it's so important to push your kids to you know, out of their comfort zone, off the couch, and just spend time with them. They want to be with you. They want to be with you and just you. And like, moms are awesome. Their jobs are just as important, but dads, it's one of those things that they look to you, and they are looking for your cues to stand up and to lead and to show them what real good men are about. And that's something that I take pride in. Before both the kids go to bed every night, I say to my daughter that she's lovely. And what I say to Jesse is that he has what it takes. Every night I want to send them off, with those two things. And yeah, I'm gonna getting a little choked up here, but you know what? If you can't get choked up about your kids, then
then you're heartless.
You're heartless slob that has the coronavirus.
Just like all of us.
Yeah. Humor masks all insecurity.
Well, that is part of what we're doing here today is we're just trying to bring some levity to. We're just, we know it's serious, but if you can't laugh, it's hard to deal with stuff. Like people laugh at funerals.
Yes.
And it's a way of dealing with traumatic times, and it's not meant to belittle anything that's going on right now. It's just, this is how we deal with stuff. We talk, we laugh, we try and make light of it, and hopefully it does wrap up soon. Things can get back to normal and stuff like that. But was it kind of same for you with Josh? You just kind of notice he's wanting to spend time with you, and this is what you were already doing anyway, or was it like a conscious, I gotta get him into hunting, I gotta get him into knives, camping, whatever? Was that was it more like that, or?
Actually, we touched a bit on it about it on the last podcast, but I've always been close with Josh, and I had a good relationship with my father. He was actually a good friend of mine. My dad was probably in a lot of ways a more engaged father than I am, playing catch all the time and playing hockey all the time with me. And now he was a lot harder on me, and maybe that's why I'm not, like, my son's in MMA 3 nights a week, and I'm not in there going, get going, because
kick him.
That's what my dad did.
Fight him.
He the only fault I think my dad has is that he probably pushed way too hard. So as far as like the learning curve, like I can get frustrated super quick with my kids because I'm just like, I know how to do this. Why don't you know how to do it?
Yeah.
Would you grow up already?
But just the role of a man and a father, I think in children's lives is something that you could never put a price on or replace. A mother does not replace a father, and a father doesn't replace a mother either. But there are some very key intrinsic values and qualities I think that fathers can pass on to their children that mothers can't. And so with my son, he is always wanting to show me his creations, his Lego, and he just wants me to engage him. So I say, well, does this one have a gun, or does this one? I think this one could probably grab it here, and I engage in his world. And Jesse probably is more like, I want to go chop something down. Like Jesse, maybe one day, Lord willing, Jesse will work for me, and I think I could build a crew around that kid.
Honestly.
But if he wants to do something else, that's okay too. I know Jesse Jesse is a worker.
Yeah, talk about a good first day. He'd have a good first day, for sure.
And Joshua, he really wants my approval in a lot of different ways. And and with my daughter, she loves the water. So she is almost a lifeguard at this point. And her lifeguarding was canceled this week, unfortunately, because of the coronavirus. At the end of this week, she'd be a lifeguard.
Really, eh?
So she loves the water and she loves to paddle, and so I think that'll be my daughters and I connection is paddling. Not too enthusiastic about camping.
Yeah.
She will go because she enjoys being with us, but
And you have to paddle to get there.
but I think if her and I can paddle together, I think that'll be our bond.
Yeah, double blading.
Yeah,
Obviously.
exactly. Double blade to resist.
Yeah.
A family that double blades together stays together. That's what they say. TM. Nobody says it except us. Or you have to pay us. Just kidding. No, that's great. I think that's you hit on something really important there when you're talking about Josh and his Legos and stuff and engaging. Because I've noticed in my own life and other people's lives too, it's a lot of you're sitting there on your phone, you're just trying to unwind or whatever, and the kid's coming up to you, you know, with Hannah, she's just kind of blabbering now, which is really cool. So, but it's like, I've started to notice that, and I started, you know, I need to put the phone down and just like blabber back to her, or say, oh wow, that's so interesting, I'm so glad you brought that up. Actually, I think it's more like this. It's like, and she's like blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
and she thinks that she's having a conversation, which is just amazing to witness. And
Yeah, you're affirming her though.
yeah, no, it gives her confidence. I've noticed the more I'm doing that, the more she's speaking up and stuff like that. But I think in this digital age, you know, we need to be really careful about how much time we spend with our heads down, looking at our screens, and you know, we talk a lot about the outdoors and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, in between that, we're just regular people, you know, on our devices and things, and I think it's really important to make that FaceTime with our kids. And yeah, I don't know how many people are listening to this with kids, but if that's one thing I can get across, it's like just pay attention to them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, my grandma, she remarried after my grandpa passed away. My grandpa was one of my closest friends. He was my sage, and he was a wonderful man. And you know, like there isn't a week, I won't say day, a week that goes by that I don't think of him. But she remarried this other man, and at first I'm like, no one can replace my grandfather. What?
Yeah.
Who's this guy? You know, and he ended up being another sage, you know, and I always felt a bit ripped off that he got, you know, taken home early, that he never got to meet my kids. But so this other guy, Smith Simpson.
His first name was Smith.
Yeah, Smith Simpson.
Smith with a Y.
Irish.
It's Smythe, dear.
Yeah, not Smith. Yeah, so he kind of, you know, wormed his way into our hearts, Matt and mine, and he really knew how to connect with the boys and stuff like that. He'd always be beating my son up every time I saw him, and I was just like, that is so old school, to beat up my child.
When you said beating my son, I was like,
Yeah.
and then I thought it was going to be like at checkers or something,
No.
and then it's like up. I was like, oh yeah, okay, it went right where I thought it was going.
And like they would wrestle and have fun and stuff like that. But he passed away recently too. I know this is kind of a downer.
Yikes.
But he passed away. But at his funeral, I felt like I spent a lot of time thinking that this guy was trying to replace my grandpa, and no one ever will. But I was so glad that kind of God gave our kids kind of a great grandfatherly presence, a sage. And through his funeral, I saw, like, he has three boys, right?
Yeah.
And his way he would relate to each one of them was he would take an interest in whatever each one of the boys were in. And that was something that just hit me at the funeral, that I need to pick a topic that both my kids are into, and I need to get into it.
Yeah.
It's not like they have to get into camping or they're not spending time with me.
Right.
That's nonsense.
Right.
You know, get into what they're into, even if you're not into it, and just get into the world, just like how you get into it with Josh and his Lego, and this could add a gun, and this could, and really, they're only kids for a very short time. So utilize that time. And, I know that we started out with like the coronavirus, but I think it always leads back to our families and being good men.
Yeah. Well, that's what kind of what we're all about, We're about family. We're about, taking the average Joe, getting them off the couch, just like we are. We're just average, regular people with families trying to do this stuff with our family. And that's who we want to talk to for sure. And that's, I think something we're all really passionate about is family. So, I'm not surprised that it ended up here, but I'm glad that it did. And I think with that, we'll probably call that a podcast. And just wanted to say again a big thank you for everybody that's been listening and supporting. And somebody's sending screenshots to David listening in their car, which is just kind of a surreal moment for us. And it's really cool. It's cool to see the support and the views and stuff on YouTube, and then I can see as well on the other website the listens, and it's encouraging stuff. So thank you everybody for listening. If you have any suggestions for our This Week in Wildness segment, make sure to tag us, send us a private message on Facebook, comment on the video, like it, subscribe, and like we always say nowadays,
you just gotta get
stay in there.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
One more time.
All right. As we always say,
you just gotta stay in there.